All right, everybody, welcome to today's live stream. Today is all about achieving your fitness goals, actually achieving your fitness goals, setting out and actually doing it. So, we're going to break this down into four different types of sections, I would say, four main topics. And reality, it's probably a little bit more than that, but we're going to discuss a lot of different types of things that maybe barriers you might be coming up to, how to set the goals, what programs do you need to do to actually get results. A lot of these good different type of aspects. So today's topics, we're just going to dive right into it, is setting real fitness resolutions, not the ones that you go, oh, I'm trying to lose 15 pounds, but you have no actual plan to do it and get there. We're also going to be talking about overcoming some of these common challenges. We're going to be talking about how to plan your workouts, how to plan your nutrition, and then you got to track it, because what gets tracked gets measured, what gets better. So we're going to track, we're going to measure, we're going to see how our progress does. And there's so many different ways that you can do that. But in reality, let's just kind of get into the main thing. So you have to define your own story. When it comes down to fitness resolutions, fitness goals, you can't just have these be very vague, right? It's not about, like I said, just losing 10 pounds. You got to actually come up with a plan on how to get there. And the road has many paths. And one of the ways that you can really do it initially is by having a smart approach, is by doing the SMART goals. Everybody's heard of SMART goals: smart, measurable, attainable, realistic, time-based. And if you hadn't, we're going to kind of dive a little bit more deeper on that topic. And also the physical, the mental, and the emotional benefits that you're going to get from actually doing an exercise routine, and something that you can actually stick to. And I've been in your position. I've been there. I've had my ups and downs in fitness. I've faced many setbacks, and I celebrated victories, and I know what to do, and I also know what not to do. And I've worked with all these clients who have had different health ailments, have different muscle, have different goals. And this isn't necessarily about sharing what I know. It's about learning, growing together, and making a plan and actually sticking to it. And really, it's a way for me to get out of my comfort zone and connect with the viewers and subscribers on my channel. So I appreciate you guys, and let's just kind of go right into it. So for me, I think it always starts with why are we even doing this? Why are you jumping on this live stream? Well, for me, I've noticed, my January and February were great. I was getting ready to start an online training aspect. And my dad ended up getting into a severe motorcycle crash and broke both of his legs, ankles, etc. And we didn't know if he was going to still be with us. And that kind of derailed, I would say, my next 5-6 months. Really just trying to make sure that, when family comes up, you have to step up. And that's usually what happens. And what happens when you do with family is that you don't necessarily start focusing on yourself, because still trying to run a business. And if you ever heard of that little triangle, you have relationships, you have your business, and then you have your health. And you could really only pick two of those, because one of them is always going to be slacking. And so business and relationships with the family, my health was slacking. So I noticed that, and I'm going to get back into it. I'm going to do this. And I always find that, working out with clients, yes, I'm getting my whoop strain. It's up in the 10s, the 15s, and that's great, but it's not actually doing anything. It's maintaining my fitness level. It's not actually gaining, and I'm not necessarily losing. But that's why I figured this is a perfect time, not only for me to kind of get myself really back into some sort of fitness regimen, some sort of fitness routine, is to share it with you guys and all the subscribers. So one of the things that I figured we could do is that every month I'm going to come on these live streams and we're just going to talk about a particular topic for the month, and just something that's going to keep us accountable, will keep me accountable, and allow me to kind of connect a little bit more with the rest of you guys. So that's why we're really doing this live stream right now. And by doing that, I feel like we can kind of keep ourselves accountable. And even if we're not working together, at least we can come into these live streams. We can yell at each other, maybe not yell at each other, but we could sit here and, have a discussion. And I know a lot of you guys have been here from my ankle injuries, some of the ankle recovery videos that I've put out there, and some of you might be dealing with a lot of those injuries and are trying to come back and just don't know how, or just don't know why, or really might need that push because you have it in you and you just don't really know how to get back into it. So that's kind of a little overview of why we're doing this. And so when we think about going back to the fitness resolutions, what are fitness resolutions, right? They're targeted commitments that are set to improve our health. And a lot of times we put weight loss, we put exercise, we want to get to the gym, we want to do these things, and they're usually centered around concrete objectives. Unlike our broader resolutions, fitness resolutions are centered on what you can do, right? It's what are you able to do? Do you want to get healthy? Do you want to build muscle? Do you want to lose weight? Do you just want to start walking? Keeping it very simple. And once you set these things in motion for yourself, they provide you a focused path, and obviously often accompanied by a detailed plan, such as workouts, schedules, diet changes, doing different types of meal plans, tracking. And that's really why we're on this live stream. And so when we think of the benefits of exercise, everybody knows the benefits of exercise. We know that engaging in regular exercise improves your cardiovascular health, muscle, bone strength, etc., etc. But what it really does is alleviate symptoms of depression, anxiety. It can improve your mood, release endorphins, and ultimately have you feeling better about yourself, and really slowing down the cognitive decline of aging. So if you're exercising, not only you strengthening your bones that we know deteriorate once you get older, you're strengthening your mind because you're firing off endorphins, you're feeling better about yourself. And then you have the emotional and physiological benefits of everything, right? Because when you achieve your fitness goal, it's a sense of accomplishment, really, for humans, right? So we want to achieve different goals. And once we achieve them, we like to be celebrated, or we like a reward, we like a cookie, we like a medal. We like these things because it tells us that we have done something. And once we're able to kind of get that cookie or get that medal, we know that it's complete, and we can start to work on those other goals. And I think that when you start putting fitness, you start putting these emotional and psychological benefits together, it serves as one of the best stress pain relievers that you can possibly do. And once you continue to do it, it's a long-term impact, right? Because you're setting yourself up for success. For me, I wouldn't have been able to get back from my ankle injury as quick as I did, or as heal as quick as I did, if I didn't have the foundation of exercise, of moving, of building muscle and mobility. So once you're able to incorporate it into your life, you never know when things are going to happen. You never know when things are going to come up. I mean, I hate to say that, but you just never know when life comes at you, and you're going to be able to need your body to really come back, whether you're coming back from a surgery, you're coming back from a muscle strain. If you set yourself up in the beginning of the year, all this stuff, it makes it easier for you to tackle some of those barriers that come up. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. But one of the main things is you have to commit to it. And you can only really do what's in your control. And that's why I always like to kind of come back to these little, let me get these little slides up here, is the SMART approach, right? The SMART goals. What are, everybody's heard of SMART goals? What are these, but nobody actually, I don't say nobody, but a lot of people don't actually follow through with the actual goal setting, what it's supposed to be. And so let me see if I can share this screen. I made this, and you can check this link out. It's in the description below if you want to print it out and save it to yourself. But this is what I like to set with my clients. I like to set with myself, is that, let me see if I can get a full screen here. I got to figure out a way to really do this. Yeah. What's this? Dismiss this. Okay. Let me get in here. Full screen action. So maybe there it is. All right. So when we think of SMART goals, right? Everybody's SMART: specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time-based. And for me, I think a lot of people, when I work with new clients, it's always like, we're really reaching out for, maybe it's a weight loss journey, maybe it's we're trying to build muscle, but a lot of times we always overreach of our goals, right? We're always like, we want to lose 20 pounds by January. I got a February wedding to go to, and it's not realistic, right? It's not, I mean, it's specific, but it's not realistic, it's not achievable. But when we looking at macro goals and micro goals. So when we break it down, if you want to lose 15 pounds, okay, what exactly do you want to achieve? And that's specific, right? I want to lose, well, we'll just go by the analogies that I have on here. So I want to lose 20 pounds, right? Versus I want to lose weight. And you can see how that makes it a lot more specific, because then now you'll know, how will I be able to lose 20 pounds? Well, I'm going to be able to measure it, because I'm going to step on a scale, or maybe I have a Fitbit, I have a Whoop app, I have these different things that I am tracking, so I'm able to measure my progress. And is it realistic? Well, I mean, if you want to lose 20 pounds, you got to set yourself at a realistic time. And so losing 1 to 2 pounds a week is achievable. I mean, that's usually my go-to with clients, is if you can subtract 500 calories from exercise in your food over the course of a week, that is 1 pound. So half a pound, 1 pound, 2 pounds, that's great. But it's achievable. Now, if you're trying to say, I want to lose 5 pounds this week, we know that it's achievable, but is it going to be relevant to the goal that you're trying to attain? Because 9 times out of 10, it's going to come right back. And so why is this goal significant? Because it's got to be relevant. You got to have a why. If you don't have a why, a lot of this stuff just goes by the wayside, right? You want to be able to improve your health. You want to feel more confident. You want to be there for your children. You want to be there for your kids. You want to be there for whoever is in need of you. That's why it's relevant. And then you figure out, well, when do you want to achieve this goal? Next 6 months? That's ideal. Next 3 weeks? It's not probably going to be ideal. So, once you're able to figure that out, and again, you can print this out in the description below, is that you really just want to ask yourself, right? And it kind of goes back to the beginning of the define your story. We got to define our story. Oh, why is it going? No, we want to define our story, because your story is going to be different from the next person. It's going to be different from whoever is trying to achieve their fitness goals. And so you break it down specific to you, and from there you're able to break it down into monthly milestones. What do you want to achieve in your first month when you do this? Is it 5 pounds? Is it just getting into the gym? Is it just getting ready for exercise? But that's why we break it down into these little micro goals. And so you get real specific with it. Now, your main goal is that you want to lose 10, 15 pounds, right? Okay, perfect. But we also want to be able to go to the gym 4 times a week, because that's specific. Now, you want to mark each gym visit on your calendar, because, again, that's measurable. If you have a plan, you could just knock it right off. And it's achievable, right? You schedule your gym time, because if you don't schedule it, you're not going to really want to do it, right? And so is it relevant? Because relevant gym visits, if it's a regular gym visit, it's crucial for losing weight, building your strength, getting to the goals that you're trying to attain. And then you could do this by the end of the week. So it makes it really simple once you break it all down, because this is all of your own self cognitive behavior that you're putting into this for yourself. And I think that's really what's important. I could sit there and tell you, this is what you got to do, this is what we have to do. But if you don't do it for yourself, whatever I say kind of just goes by the wayside. So you can check this whole thing out, and that is in the link in the description below. You can just print that out yourself. So we know why we should be doing fitness resolutions, but why? Let me set this back. We do fitness resolutions, but the barriers that come up whenever we do these different things, right? We know that a lot of times that everything kind of gets in the way, whether it be life, whether it be just like I was saying, I couldn't plan for an accident, but it happened. And so when it does happen, we have to remember, one, the first challenge is you got to stay motivated, right? Because if you don't stay motivated, a lot of these different things aren't going to work out for you, right? And so a lot of when we think of setting fitness goals or setting these different things, one of the main challenges that is obviously going to come up is staying motivated. So how do you stay motivated whenever you just start a fitness journey or you're just starting your New Year's resolutions? Well, one thing is you have to set your clear goals, right? The SMART goals are going to be what drives you and keeping you motivated the whole time. You need to find some sort of intrinsic and extrinsic motivation to really get yourself there. And you need a support system. And if you're doing this alone, you're probably going to fail out. So if you do this, you see better, or I've seen better results when people are more encouraged to do this with you, whether it's a husband, a wife, a friend, a workout buddy. You need somebody to be there as your support system. And that's obviously why a lot of times people hire me, is I'm the support system. And you need to celebrate the small victories, just like we were talking about before, is that you need to celebrate. Like if you reach your monthly goal, celebrate it. And that's important for you, because it's what's going to keep you, again, motivated to keep going. If you start seeing 5-10 pounds weight loss in the first month or two, and that was your goal, that's awesome. Well, celebrate the wins, celebrate the small wins, celebrate the little things that you're doing to get you there, because when it all comes down to it, that's what's going to keep you motivated. You got to set yourself up for success by having your goals already planned out. Find a support system with people that are doing the same things that you were doing and reaching those same goals, and then celebrate the small victories that you get whenever you're in the process of doing it. And if you could do that, you're going to stay motivated for most of, hopefully, past February. And from there, it brings us to our second challenge, is time management. A lot of times, this is what I always hear: Nick, I don't have time to work out. I don't have time to do anything. My kids, I'm working from home, I'm doing all these different things. I just don't have time to work out. Well, that is one of the biggest challenges. But if you don't schedule your workouts, you'll never do your workouts. And so think of it like your workouts as if you're going to like a hairdresser, or going to your barber, or you're going to get your nails done. You schedule that appointment and you show up for that appointment, right? Because if they don't, they'll knock you, $10-15, whatever it is, for rescheduling and a no-show fee. So figure out something that's kind of like that, is that if you're able to set yourself up, saying, all right, Monday, I know I'm doing strength training legs, and you do that for the next 3 weeks, that starts to build that habit, starts to build a routine. And it just makes it so much easier for you not to say, well, my time is, I don't have any time. It's all consumed by everything else. And when you look at life, right, we have a bandwidth of like 100, and some of these different things in life are going to be able to take it out. It's like a battery, right? And so if you think, working, that's probably draining 50% of your battery, and then you go home, you got to cook, you got to clean, you got to do these different things, and then it leaves you with like 10% battery to do exercise. Well, that's the 10% that you need to, that's what you need to do. And if you have that 10%, some people don't even have that. They have like 1% left, and they're like, how am I supposed to do an hour left of exercise? Well, it's because you didn't schedule it. We need to schedule our exercise. And if that's hard, you can do little things like, you know, activity that's outside. Incorporate the activity that whenever you are working from home or you are doing these different things, how going up the steps, taking the steps instead of the elevator. When you go shopping, maybe you're parking further out, so you walk a little bit more to your car with the groceries, and it's little things like this. They add up, because what it all comes down to, we're looking for 150 minutes of exercise per week. That's the standard. And if you could do that, and we have so many different ways of tracking, right? I got a Fitbit, I got my Apple Watch, I got a Whoop that's not on me right now, a Fitbit around my ankle. I'm tracking things because I need to make sure that I'm actually doing what I want to be doing. And if you track it, you can change it. And so I think that that's important whenever we look at the long haul of really time management, and using that as an excuse or using that as a barrier that has come up. And then if that's a problem, you opt for short workouts. And research at the University of Pittsburgh has been shown that if you do 3 10-minute bouts of exercise 3 times a day, that's still as effective as a 30-minute straight through exercise session. So you can get yourself in the morning where you're doing 10 squats, 15 squats, plus a couple push-ups or holding a plank. Do that for 10 minutes, do your workout, go to lunch, and do these other exercises. Maybe it's a lunge, maybe you're going up and down the steps, maybe, calf raises. If you really are setting yourself up to accomplish the goals that you're wanting to accomplish, doing these little things are going to be simple, because there are all the requirements that are going to help you get to the goals that you're trying to achieve. So I think that that's very important. And don't let time management be an excuse, because we just talked about how you have time. So I think which brings me to this next program challenge, I should say, but I want to say problem, but challenge is plateaus in progress. So a lot of times when we start an exercise routine, we see great results at first, right? We see all these results. We're like, holy hell, I'm getting ripped. I'm losing weight. What's going on? And then maybe 3 months goes by and nothing's happening. Nothing's changing. The weight's staying the same. And you're wondering what the hell is even going on. And a lot of times is because you've been doing the same thing over and over again, and you haven't changed the weight, the duration, the intensity, the volume. All these different aspects add up. And so if one of my main reasons to kind of get out of, if you're trying to break a plateau, is vary your routine, right? You have to vary your routine if you want to break out of a plateau. So if you're always doing machine work, maybe you switch up to dumbbell work. If you're always doing dumbbell work, maybe you switch up to machine and some resistance bands, and see if there's any difference in how you feel. Maybe you start getting a little bit of an extra burn. Maybe you should start doing more mobility, more stability exercises, using different tools. That's why there's all these tools in the gym, right? Use them. Don't just stick with the ones that you see the biggest people or the most fit girls and fit guys using. Use everything that's at your disposal, especially if you're paying for a gym membership. Use everything that's there. And so that's what's going to help you stay out of a plateau. And so it's important to really, when we look at a lot of our challenges, it's vary your routine and then review the goals that you had at hand. Did you set your goals too high? Were they too lofty? Were they not dialed in enough? And if you have any issues with that, you seek guidance. There's professionals out there. You can talk to me. You can talk to really anybody in your gym that you trust. And really, that's important, is finding somebody you trust. So if you're getting yourself into a plateau over the next 3-4 months, or maybe even the next 2 months, and you're not seeing any progress, vary your routine. Use some resistance bands instead. Use some dumbbells. Use it all. Use the machines. Seek guidance. Maybe you're just not doing the same thing. Maybe you're not having particular muscle groups activated that you're trying to work out. And review your goals. Go back to the SMART goals and see, were they too lofty? Were they not actually attainable at all? And so with that being said, we kind of have to move on to the strategies for maintaining and planning your workouts, right? So if we're going to be doing any type of new fitness journey, we have to figure out what are we going to do for us, right? What are we going to do for you as an individual? Because for what I'm going to do is going to be completely different, or it could be exactly the same. But what you're really looking for is something that you're going to be able to do that evolves around what you already do. Now, if you're an office worker and you're somebody who sits in a chair a long time, you need to figure out a way, because you're always hunched over, is to get the core involved. Your hip flexors are probably weak from sitting all the time. You're probably in a rounded position. And so that means you need to work on core, back, hip flexors, leg presses. Now, if you're somebody who's, say, a construction worker and you're out there lifting and doing all these things, you probably have pain in tightness that you need to address. So that could be more flexibility, more mobility, still focusing on your strength, but focusing more aspect on the other things that are kind of working, not necessarily against you, but that are yelling at you a little bit. And so it's important that the varied training program is varied to what you're already doing. And so if you find that you're in a position where you are in pain, that's your New Year's resolution. That's your exercise program, is to get out of pain. And again, how do we do this? We have our goals. We have to set up our goals, and then obviously get into some sort of progressive overload. As what I was talking about before, is hitting those plateaus. Is that if you're always doing the same thing over and over again, you're never really going to see any results unless you up the intensity, unless you up the weight, unless you up whatever it is that you're doing in a gradual manner, right? I would always suggest doing reps over weight. So if you find yourself like getting to 10 to 12 reps and you want to be, strong man, and you want to say, all right, I'm going to go do the 45s now, go up to 15 and see how that feels with that same weight, and then do a couple sets like that. And if you feel that you can do 15 efficiently, that's whenever you say, all right, let me switch the weight, let me drop it back down to 6 to 8 reps, and and be able to be smart about it, be progressively overloading that muscle, not to the point where it's progressively about to tear and fall apart, and I think that's what I see a lot of times in the gym, right? You see all these people, they go in there, New Year's resolutions, they want to get fit, and they just start cranking out reps at just weight that they can do. And then you see them there for probably 2 to 3 weeks, and then they're going home, probably mainly because they hurt something got pulled, something got strained, but not you, because we have it all planned out, we have it set up, and you know what you're going to do, right? We're going through all these different things, and that's why we are going through these. But once you have your exercises pretty much down, I want to say down packed, once you figure out what you're going to be doing, you got to figure out what is your macro split. If you don't know what you're consuming, how are you going to be able to grow or lose weight, right? And that's what always gets into the tracking. There's so many different metrics now that you can use. I think Fitbit, MyFitnessPal, my app has it. Macro splits are very important, because if you don't know what you're consuming and you're not tracking it already, how can you make any changes to your diet? Because you don't know what you're actually consuming. So I always suggest getting into a position that whenever you're starting in a fitness journey or fitness, whatever, you're trying to lose weight, you got to find out how many calories you should be eating first. And that's the utmost importance, because the strategies for weight loss don't really change, right? They're the same as it's always been. Calories in and calories out. It's just how are you going to be able, and what strategies are you going to be able to use to get that accomplished? And so once you find out your macro split, it's pretty straightforward, right? You limit late night snacking and you increase your protein. And that's really the 3 main things you need to do whenever you're starting any type of fitness journey: is find your macro split, increase your protein, and don't be a monster at night. And I know for me, I could be that monster at night. And that's one of the things that I was talking to my girlfriend about. We're going to do no sweets after 8. So if you're listening to this, remember, no sweets after 8. The only thing we're going to eat after 8 is fruit. So kind of making that sweet craving. I don't know. Well, we'll see how it goes, but it should be fun. But if to kind of recap on that, let's just go. If you're trying to get into a weight loss journey or getting yourself into a fitness journey, you have to make sure you find your macro split. And if you get on the app, we can do that. Very simple. And find your macro split, increase your protein, and be able to limit your late night snacking. Don't be a monster at night. Maybe do fruit after 8. Follow suit with what I'm planning on doing, and I'm sure you'll reach your goals. And as you can tell, I don't want you removing any type of food group. I don't want you saying no carbs. I don't want you saying no fats. Only fats. There's the thing that people don't realize when it comes down to nutrition. And now I'm not a nutritionist. I'm an exercise scientist, but I'm also a chef. So I work with food every day. Is that people don't realize is that you need all your food groups. You need everything. If you're just only eating meat, and you're going to have diarrhea. Let's be real. If you're only eating meat, that's the thing that these people don't tell you. If you're only eating meat the whole time, you have chronic diarrhea because you have no fiber holding your stool together. And that's one of the things. Yeah, I feel great, but yeah, it's because you're shitting all day long. That's great, but that's not what I want to do. I like my food, but getting sidetracked. But when you think of all these different diets, they all work because they all have you reducing some sort of calorie. And I think that's why people always think that they're doing something beneficial for themselves, is that you're removing processed foods. You're removing these different types of foods and these different types of things that are calorie dense. And that's what, when it comes down to it, that's where your problem lies. And so when you switch to these different diets, you're cutting out processed foods. You're cutting out maybe the sugary puffs or the other aspects of that you've been eating and consuming all day long, but you don't realize it until you start doing a diet. You go, oh, wow, I'm feeling great off of doing keto, but you don't realize that you also cut all the chips that you were eating, all the cookies that you're eating at night, the ice cream that you're eating at night. I don't know. I wonder why you feel great. So find your macro split and eat into that. That is your main, that should be the real main thing that you get out of this, is find your macro split, eat the amount of calories that you're supposed to eat, get into a deficit of 250 calories from exercise, from food, and watch your results. I mean, that's pretty much as simple as that. Just don't be a monster at night, and yeah, like the rest of us. And sure enough, that's what's ended up going to happening. So when we talk about tracking and measuring progress, right? I just want to kind of go back to tracking, measuring progress, because I want to show you. Let's see if we can get this added to the stage. So when we talk about tracking and measuring progress, so this is my app, and this is one of the ways that I'm going to try to keep myself accountable, is following my own app, which is always, a hard thing, is when you make absurd. Wow, look at this. What's absurd is this loading times. Yeah, so I guess I'm on down. You can see with this dashboard, and now if you have this, you would have an app in it. And again, I'm being a poor salesman here, is that I have, if you want to follow the program that I'm going to be doing and showcasing, there's a link in the description below. It's 90 days. It's got you all set up for success. All you got to do is follow it. And if you follow it, I'm sure you'll get results, because I made it, and I know that I made it for me. So you could follow it and yeah, look at the exercises that we're about to go over and see if, that's something that you would be interested in. And I'm only going to keep it up for the next 3 weeks in here as a little thank you for joining the live stream. So here we have for me, so I'm going to try to be eating 2,000 calories. Now, I think I probably should be going a little bit further than this, because I definitely burn more than 2,000 calories a day. But I'm going to be doing 2,000 calories. And you can see that I have it, the way that I have it split up is 30, 30, 40. And so I have my protein at 150 grams. I have my carbs at 200, my fat at 67. That's going to be hell. And I'm going to try to get 2,000 calories every day. And so with this dashboard, if you were able to get, if you were to download the app, you'd be able to see all your, your steps, your sleep, your caloric burn, put the body weight, the body fat, my photos that I haven't put up yet because it starts tomorrow or starts Monday. Yeah, everything starts Monday. And so you're able to see everything here. And so what I have made for myself, and again, what you can follow, is this whole calendar based of how I'm setting up my exercises is going to be not anything out of the ordinary. We're getting some network issues here. I'm gonna start chopping. So yeah, all right, we're back. So when I look at, for me, setting up a program, I felt best whenever I was doing my yoga, my Pilates, my striking, and my strength training. And so for now that I have a broken ankle and have 14 screws, it's a lot harder to kind of get back into the things that I was doing beforehand. And I think, a lot of you guys are in the same boat. So how I did this was, we're not even on. Bring this back. So how I made this was I made each week about 3 weeks. Each week is, or each phase is a 3-week phase. And so it's a 12-week program that I'm doing, and it's going to be pretty extensive. So as you can see here, it's a ton of Pilates because I'm going to try to get back into my Pilates, but a lot of different exercises here. And if we look at the calendar of how it's going to be planned out, is that on Mondays, I'm going to be doing different types of strength training. So doing, for each 3-week block, doing different types of exercises, but making it diverse, right? Is that in this first Monday, we're doing a PHA workout, which is, okay, that's not it. That's my progress. Okay, so it doesn't want us to pull that up. All right. So anyways, and then I'm doing my resistance training on Monday. We're going to be doing Pilates and striking on Tuesday. Wednesday is going to be back to the exercise. Thursday, getting into the yoga again. Friday, resistance band. Saturday, we're doing another lift. So, I guess that's it. It's day 3. So maybe I should actually look at this again. So Monday, we're doing full body workout. Tuesday, we're doing Pilates. Wednesday, we're doing the full body workout for the lower body. And then day 2, we're doing Pilates, resistance band. So there's a lot of stuff going on in here. So when we look at it, we're trying to follow this. Well, I'm trying to follow this for the next 3 weeks, and then switch into where I could get into my yoga almost every morning and start to make that a morning routine. And I think by this, it keeps it broken down and it keeps me accountable. When we think about scheduling the exercises and scheduling the workouts, this is everything that I was talking about beforehand. And by this way, you don't necessarily have a point where you sit there and say, all right, I don't know what I'm going to do. It's in the app. And so if you want to follow this, it is in the link in the description below. And it's something that I find that I like to do, is strength training on Monday and Wednesdays, and then doing the cardio on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then adding in the flexibility and the balance exercises during the weekday and during the weekend. So we'll see how it goes. And, we'll see how everybody does if you do decide to do this exercise plan. But kind of going back and just, kind of recapping everything, because we just went over a whole bunch of different things, is that finding the exercise program that is going to be beneficial for you, right? That is everything. Because when it comes down to it, you are your own worst critic, and you are your own person who is not going to be able to do these different types of things, because you're going to set these expectations on yourself and realize, oh shit, this is maybe too lofty, I can't reach for this. How am I going to be able to do this? And so once you're able to get yourself into a position where your mindset's dialed in and you're ready to rock and roll, look over this video again and just kind of look and maybe find a little bit of nuggets that are in there that can really help you, propel you, and get you motivated for the New Year's fitness resolutions that you're trying to attain for yourself. And one of the things that I also want to really talk about is, take it slow. Celebrate each day, what the mindset of you're trying to grow 1% each day, because that is important. And it could be in anything. When you're starting a new fitness journey, a lot of times you want to just do, I'm going to eat right, I'm going to go exercise, I'm going to go to the gym. And then you realize none of that shit is actually really realistic, because you have other commitments in life that you have to address. And so when it comes down to that, you have to make sure that you have a set plan and you're doing it for yourself. You got to have a why. If you don't have a why burning, inside of you to whatever it is, the goals that you're trying to attain, you're never really gonna follow through with it, because you're just not, you're not in the mindset to do it, right? But if you have a why, that's what's driving you the whole time. And so you pick one of these 2 areas to 3 areas that you want to, get better at, and stick to it. And I made a post, what was it, yesterday or 2 days ago, with like these little bit of pictures, whether it was a sticky notes, and it was the main things, or I looked at a research, and it would show that the main research of what people are trying to attain when they do their New Year's fitness goals. So that could be, lose weight, save money, all these different things. And, if you could really pick 2 or 3 of those and just really focus on those as your drivers, and, maybe you want to quit smoking. That's your New Year's resolution. Well, break it down into SMART goals of how you're going to get there, and you will be able to get there. And a lot of times we want to do so much at once, right? To kind of go back to that, don't bite off more than you can chew. If you want to lose weight, you want to exercise, you want to eat better, pick one of them and then let the other ones compound on each other. First, if you want to just eat better, start by going out and going grocery shopping. Don't buy the bullshit food that you normally would, because and then if you don't, that's the small victories, that's the small wins, those are the small little 1% getting better things that are going to combine and compound on top of each other, and that are going to make the better decisions in the long run. And it's important to look at these little things like that, because if you don't, you're always looking at the bigger picture, and you can't get to the bigger picture, you can't get to the bigger goals without knocking off some of the small things first. And that is, whether it's buying new fitness equipment, whether it's not, maybe it's your stove's broken and maybe that was your excuse the whole time. I don't know, I'm just throwing stuff through the wind. But figuring out what is stopping you from getting to those goals, and how can you do the little things that are going to help you get there. And if you're able to figure that one out, you're going to be set up for success. You're not going to have all right, it's the New Year's fitness resolution, and then by February it's what was I trying to do again? And then now you're on this whole year of trying to get back to whatever it was that you set yourself up for. And when we look at New Year's resolutions, or just New Year's goals in general, I always hated them. I'm always like, why wait to the first of the year to do these different things? But when you had a shitty year, or if you had a year that was, maybe not your best, it allows you to kind of, turn the page over and say, all right, that was me this year, or that was me last year. This is me now. And now I'm going to focus on myself. And sometimes that intrinsic motivation could get you a lot of places. I mean, intrinsic motivations got me to start a business, got me to go back to school, got me to recover from an ankle injury, And so if you can find that, that deep why inside of you, you can use that as gas and fuel to really help you get through this next year and accomplish the goals that you really want to accomplish. And that's why, I mean, for me, one of my goals was to get out here and do more live stream, connect more with the community, connect more with people that are watching my videos, because a lot of times, it's just me editing videos on script and doing these different things. And I don't really have a chance to talk to people or be real or let people see, who I am. And I'm just really, what am I? I'm trying to help you. That's really what it comes down to. That's why I started the business. That's why I started doing YouTube, was to try to help people, because when it all comes down to it, we might not think of it now, but we all need help in some regard. I reach out for help all the time. And if you don't, you're doing yourself a disservice, because a lot of times people have done things that you want to do, and you can ask them and say, hey, let me pick up what did you do? How can I do this? And people, if you're in the right circle, or most of the times nowadays, people want to talk. Me, I'm Italian. I love talking. I haven't shut up since I got on here and even taken a breath. But that's just because that's who I am. I love talking to people. And nowadays, where I'm having this virtual conversation, is people don't see people anymore. I think we're almost like confined in our own homes, to the point where, whether we're working from home, we don't have that interaction with the coworkers that maybe we used to, that that would get us motivation to do different things, or maybe just get us excited. I know for me, when I was working in the kitchen, I loved working in the kitchen because of the people that were there. It wasn't necessarily the food that I was cooking. It was the people that were there, the other cooks, the servers, the host, the general managers, and being able to learn from these different people, because they have different skill sets. And so you're able to learn from that. And nowadays we don't really have that anymore, because of where we're at in society. Everything's kind of digital. So for me, I'm like, how can I see more people that are my clients, and kind of just start having a conversation and being able to help people. So yeah, I'm just rambling on about this, but that's the whole reason of me getting on these live streams. Is this isn't a comfortable thing for me. This is a very uncomfortable thing. I got to sit here and stare at this camera and not really look down, and then my hair is all messed up, so it's like, so it's an uncomfortable thing for me. But so is life, and so is get into a fitness journey. So is setting out goals for yourself. That's all uncomfortable, but you got to embrace the uncomfortable in order to grow as a person. Because once you're able to do that, you realize that once you're able to do the things that are really uncomfortable for you, you go, well, I did that before. This new thing that is coming up, this ain't shit. This is easy. I could do this. This is nothing. And that's why I always like using, health and fitness as a way to not necessarily be a self-improvement tool, but just allow you to see what you are capable of. Because I know for me, it allowed me to see what I am capable of. I didn't think I was ever going to go to school. I didn't think I was ever going to be able to go to college and complete it, graduate, all these different things. But it was exercise and fitness and having that schedule and having that mentality and having that routine that I told myself, well, I mean, I've done this. I could schedule school. I could schedule studying. I could schedule these different things. I know how to do it because I've done it before. And, it's something to, really think about, of why, whenever you're going into your New Year's resolutions, of, why am I doing this? Don't do it for anybody else. Do it for yourself, right? Because if you can better yourself, you can better the people around you. And you really can't do that if you're in a state of, anxiety, depression, you're feeling bad about yourself. But if you're feeling good about yourself, the other people around you will see that and they'll feed off of that energy and they'll say, "Oh, look at Joey. He's out here kicking ass. I remember him. He looked like he wasn't doing too good. Oh, you lost 25 pounds. Oh, well, how'd you do it?" And then now maybe that sparks an interest in whoever that is that you're talking to. "Oh, did you see X, Y, and Z?" And just be a role model for yourself, because you never know who's watching. You never know who's looking. You never know who's keeping up the tabs with you. You might have, I look at my Instagram, I get all these people, I get messages, I got people, but nobody likes anything. But for me, it shows that people are watching, people are looking at it, whatever, however they're consuming it, it's how they're consuming it, whatever. But then whenever I get a message from somebody, "Hey, I've been watching your stories or I've been watching your videos," I'm like, "How?" I don't know, because you never liked anything, you never commented on it, but I guess they were watching. And so you never know how you are going to reflect yourself. So if you start yourself into a point where you're setting yourself up for success, doing some New Year's resolutions, it's important that to realize, going back to the very, very beginning, let's see if I can get this, is this one, right? Was, oh, what the hell? I have no idea what I'm doing. Is defining your story. What is your story? Do you want to lose weight? Do you want to get stronger? What is your story? Everybody's story is going to be different, but you got to find what your story is and then be able to fulfill it and write out the chapters. And each chapter is going to be, something crazy. You might find out that you can't work out for 45 minutes. You're going to find out that you can only go 10, 15 minutes. Well, that's your story. And then guess what? Next week, you might go 20 minutes. And then the week after that, you might be 30, 45 minutes. And you're like, holy hell. And now you realize you're starting to see progress from you just showing up. And that's everything. If you just show up, put the work in, put the time in, focus on yourself, you'll see the results. And a lot of times when people don't see results, and I've had clients who, say, I haven't got the results that I was looking for. And then when I look deep down into it, I'm like, damn, man, what did I do wrong? Maybe there's a lot of stuff that I could do better. I mean, I'm always trying to improve. But when I look at it, if you didn't put the time in and the effort to do it yourself, I can't do it for you. I can't do the workouts. I can feed you, but I guess I cook for you too, but then you'd have to hire me to do all that stuff. So that's a whole nother aspect, is if you do the stuff for yourself, you're setting yourself up for success later on in life. And I don't want to keep rambling on about it, but if you kind of go back and look at some of these nice little slides that I made, right? Our first challenge was staying motivated. Well, how do we stay motivated? Well, we got to set clear goals for ourselves. We have to create that support system of people around us, a trainer, family members, friends, whoever it is, workout buddy, and you celebrate the small wins. And from there, you're going to stay motivated for the rest of, your fitness goals, or really for life, if you can follow this. But then not using time as an excuse. Why? Because you have your workouts scheduled. You're incorporating activity in your daily life. You're parking further out. You're doing squats in the morning. You're doing different things. And maybe you're doing shorter workouts. And so you're not necessarily having to commit yourself 45 minutes to the gym, or an hour to the gym, 2 hours. Never spend more than an hour at the gym. If you're spending more than an hour at the gym, you're either texting, you're watching people, you're not dialed in. Never spend more than an hour at the gym, because then now what are you even really doing? But so, and if that's the case, opt for short workouts. And you can do these workouts at your house, right? You can do things at your house that don't require you to go for the gym, especially for time management. You could do different things, 10-minute bouts. Remember, like I was just saying, 10-minute bouts 3 times a day is just as effective as a 30-minute session. So don't let time be the barrier to get you to the goals that you're trying to attain. And then remember, the other challenge is your plateaus, right? So make sure your routine is varied. You're not doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting different results. Review your goals. Did you accomplish them? Go back to your routine, adjust what you need to. And if shit still isn't working out, you seek guidance. You reach out to a trainer. You reach out to somebody that you trust. You reach out to me, ideally, or you reach out to somebody that you trust. I mean, that's what it comes down to. And then they can hopefully show you that you need to be in a different position. But then we go into this: how do you really plan your exercises, right? You do varied training like we were just talking about. You do goal-oriented design, right? Based upon your goals and what you want to accomplish out of these exercise sessions. What is the issues in the elements that you're dealing with? That's where you set up your fitness program. Not, oh, I want to lose weight and your back is hurting and your legs are hurting and your ankles hurting. I want to lose weight. Let's start with the things that are hurting first. So goal-oriented design. What are you doing? What's going on in yourself? That's where you have to do it. And then progressively overloading, doing different exercises, doing different rep schemes, doing different types of weights, resistance bands, machines, doing different stuff so that you can progressively overload the body. That way you can start to see your results. And then giving us finally our nutritional strategies is finding your macro split, right? If you don't know how many calories you're consuming in a day, how can you make any adjustments to your diet? So start by tracking whatever you're eating now and track it, use the database, use my app, use MyFitnessPal, any of these different types of tracking. Figure out how many calories you're eating first, and then be able to make the necessary adjustments. And then once you do, we add in more protein and you stop being the late night snack monster. We don't need the cookie monster at night, especially whenever you're trying to lose weight or maintain some sort of, healthy habits. Yeah, don't be a cookie monster at night. And that's something I've got to tell myself over and over again, because that's when I find my snacking is the worst, is at night. And so fruit after 8, that's it. And so that's how we overcome our common challenges. And so I don't know what more to really say. I can sit here and talk about this for another, I feel like 2 hours, but I don't want to bore you guys. And so really, that's kind of how you're going to set yourself up for your success in your fitness goals for going into the new year. And by all means, people can reach out to me through, YouTube, Facebook. You got my number. You can text me. If you don't, well, get on that level and then you can text me. But DM me, message me if you have any issues. You're trying to get yourself back into fitness. You need somebody to kind of get you there. Obviously, I'm here for you. And something to consider is, if you've been doing stuff on your own and not seeing any progress, you got to seek guidance from somebody who's done it and helped other people out and have been able to maybe help you in some areas you never known. So, yeah. So we'll call it today, I guess. And if you have any questions, feel free to message me, leave a comment, whatever. And yeah, so this is going to be a monthly live stream that we're going to be doing. Is that each month we're going to have a specific topic, and I'm just going to kind of ramble on about it and make some content from it, and hopefully give you guys some nuggets that you can digest and use for whatever your health goals are and your journey is. But yeah, it should be a fun thing, and I'm excited because again, getting out of my comfort zone, getting into these live streams. I don't even know how the audio is. I don't even know if if you can hear me. But yeah, so that's great. And so I'll see you on the next live stream, which will be we'll see how I feel. But the main next live stream is going to be in the end of January, and we're going to be talking about February being Cardiac Awareness Month, talking about some heart health. So
reasons why you got to stick along, and we'll see you on the next live stream. So I thank everybody for coming in, and hopefully this can give you some value, and let's crush those New Year's goals. Let's do it.